Hey everybody, good morning. Good morning. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning here on the 22nd of December 2022. I'm going to be doing just a real quick update here on the S&P 500. I'm going to be real quick, real brief. If you want a detailed analysis, you can go back and take a look and see what we have, what we've discussed over the last couple days. But what I want to do, is to talk just a little bit about the S&P before I get into this. As you know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and this is just my opinion on the market. So right now, the S&P is still moving down. We are actually past a kind of an important level here. I'm going to take a look at futures here in just a moment as well. Looking at this from a fib perspective, taking this low here to this high up here, we've passed through the 618. We actually found some resistance there at the 618 as well. If I were to throw the 786 on here, we're probably going to be pretty close to tapping that as well. That's going to be there at about 38.15. So, we've got a significant move down today, although we're probably pretty close to an area where we're going to see a little bit of a bounce. I'm still of the opinion that we're probably going to see a move up here to that 39.12 to 39.20 area, although it's probably going to be next week. It's probably not going to be this week. We'll just have to give it some time. Let me take a look at the futures here real quick. I promised that I would be quick with this, and I'm going to be. Let me go to the 15-minute. So here on the futures, we're basically in the golden zone right now, although we can continue moving down. There's nothing that's going to stop us here. So let me throw the 65 on here. We're basically right in the golden zone to an area where I would really expect to see somewhat of a pivot, right? And we're starting to see some signs of a buy area here on the Wave Master indicator as well. So if we do get this bounce here, let's go ahead and measure this. Again, dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high, which is going to be, right around here, probably that candle right there. And then we're going to get our pullback there right around to the 65. We've got the 100% up there at about 39.60. So I'm looking at 39.50 for a potential top, but we'll have to wait and see how far down we go. If we correct down here to that 38.30 level, well, then that lines things up pretty well for a move to 39.50. But for right now, assuming that we don't make any more lows, and that'd be kind of a bold statement considering we just made it like 1 or 2 minutes ago. We would see a move up to that 39.50 area. Now, again, I'm not expecting it to happen tomorrow. It's probably going to be mid to late next week when it does happen. Kind of be ready for that. The next move up that we get is probably going to be, a move to look to short. Now, we were discussing some trade ideas on the Discord yesterday, and I took a pretty hefty short position up here between 39.10, 39.15. I had some orders at 39.20. Those did not fill, but I covered all of those down here at 38, I think 38.70, and then I closed the rest of them down here at about 38.50. So here we are. We're still looking for that move to go up here to 39.50. Although if we start to break down, there is a decent possibility, right? There's a decent possibility that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is done, and then wave 2 is actually complete. Although it's not likely that wave 2 is complete. If it is, we should see like a major move to the downside. So, if you're in any kind of long position that is, that's a larger size, you may want to consider cutting those on a break here of 3,800. And this is going to be on the ES futures. So if we approach or break 3,800, that would mean that, whatever we thought finished here, is over, right? Because it corrected, and we'd be going to, lower lows. And again, when we get this, and by the way, I am still expecting this to go up here into, early next week before we see, a bigger move down. But if we fall here, then, again, this next wave would probably be pretty violent and pretty harsh if that is the case. Just a couple things that we've been watching on the Discord, and again, we refer to it as the Love Shack. We've been watching options, open interest, and things like that. And I guess what I want to do is I want to pull up the S&P expiration here. Just to kind of show you something that that I feel is important to bring up. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down here and make it a little bit bigger because I want to show this to you guys. So this is going to be the expiration for tomorrow, and this was actually in pre-market. The highest open interest for the call was 4,000. The highest open interest for the put was all the way down at 3,600. Now, of course, that's just the highest open interest. That's not saying that, that's where all the money is, right? Because there is definitely open interest higher than 3,600. There's about $13 million in puts right now with only about 1.7 million in calls. And this is for tomorrow's expiration. So this is going to be the day before Christmas Eve. Watching this a little bit, 88% of the money that is in options for S&P 500 tomorrow is in puts, and only about 11 to 12% is in calls. And I haven't updated this today so far after the market has opened, but I would totally expect that after a further move down on the S&P that we're now probably approaching about 90%, 10% on the put call ratio as far as dollars go. Again, we're not talking about open interest. If we're talking about open interest, 72% of open interest is in puts and only 27% of open interest is in calls. But the money is being given to the puts right now. So that's something that I do like to pay attention to. The max pain right now is at about 39.20. We're not going to get to 39.20 by tomorrow. That would be a move all the way back up here by tomorrow. Chances of that are actually pretty small. But the max pain that I'm calculating here at about 38.35, I can see how that would be possible. And again, it looks like we're breaking down below the golden zone right now. So, we'll have to wait and see how things go. But I do expect that we're probably going to see a bounce here in the near future. So, again, this is just my thought on the S&P. I'm not going to get into where I predict that the S&P is probably going to go in January, February, and even a little bit of March next year. You'll have to be on the Discord to get that information. But nonetheless, I do think that we are at an area we're probably going to see a little bit of a bounce. It's probably going to be slow and steady getting up here to this 39.47, 39.50 area, maybe even a little bit higher, right? We could still go a little bit higher beyond that before we see, another move to potentially get to new lows. And I know that's probably, it's probably scary for some people. And that's the reason why I do these videos, because I think it's important for you to, be aware of what could happen. But of course, as I've also said in the past, if you've got time on your side, then buying for the long term, there's nothing wrong with that, because, given 10, 15 years, things are going to recover. More than likely, things are going to get better. Things are going to be higher than where they are right now, is really what I'm trying to say. But for the short term, we do still have volatility that's going to be, working against us. And speaking of volatility, let's take a look at VIX, which is on the rise today. So VIX is looking, pretty interesting right now after continuing to create, bottoms. And, again, looking at this, we were talking back here where we would see a rise, which we did, and a pullback, which happened, right? And now we're trying to break through this trend line, and it's very possible that it happens, right? VIX has been sort of in this range, and, just to clear the air, VIX isn't something that is necessarily traded based off of price action. VIX is traded based off of options volatility that's expected over the next 30 days. So, it's been kind of in this, pinball mode, right? And so what this is telling me that when we're getting down here to these lows, and again, this is March, April, this is August 10th. What happened in August 10th, right? That was after we had a rally in the stock market, right? The market rallied and then it had a swift rejection. And then again, the market rallied. We got all the way up to that 41.80 on futures. And then the market has started to pull back a little bit. So, when we get down here to these areas, you should be looking for signs of weakness, because that's what's been working all year long, right? And same thing up here. When we get up here, look for signs of strength. Maybe we're only going to get to 35 and that's it. Look for signs of strength, signs that things are looking to bottom, and then you can make that determination on what you're going to do with your funds and your capital. So that's my quick 10-minute discussion on the volatility index, my discussion on the S&P 500. But of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Discord. If you need access to our Discord, you can find all of the information on BitDoctor.org. You can also find a link to our Discord in the video description as well. But you can also get access to our Wavemaster indicator, our volume analysis tool, and numbers of other benefits as well. All right, guys, last but not least, wherever you are in the world, have a good day, good night, and a good evening. Take care.